Castbender Podcast is associated with Avatar The Legend of Korra Online.com and ComicRelated.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Castbender Podcast, episode 68 for April the 1st, 2014.
April Fools.
This is not an April Fools. This is an actual episode of Castbender Podcast.
For all you know. Maybe it's just going to be silence after this point.
Yes. We're here with our co-host, AJ Lewis.
You ruined my joke.
Teagan Chevrier.
Hi.
And Tyrell Lisson. So, we're back. We were gone last week. There was a bunch of stuff. Illness, people, and hospitals and essays and everything that's crazy about life. So
life,
no
universe,
episode.
And everything. 42.
Yeah. If you want to check out me on another podcast, I guest host on Morgan's podcast, who guest hosts on ours the week previous, Avatar Online podcast. You can go do that. It's like 2 hours long. We talked about Out of the Past. That's the 9th episode of Korra Season 1, which is probably one of the best episodes.
Is that the one with all the flashbacks and she's stuck
in the box? Yeah. We talked about what we're going to talk about later today, the Bluray.
Glass box of emotion.
And we talked about, and they did a little interview with me about podcasting and, just some of the different techniques I use and stuff. It ended up being like 2 hours long. And in the intermission, we had like an hour chat about Star Wars. So it was a good time. So we're going to go right into the newsy bit type stuff. So
newsy bit. It
was released a lot earlier now, but we're going to still report on it just in case you don't know. I don't think Keval posted an article about this on the website. The Rift Part 3 has been confirmed, and it will be coming out November 18th, 2014.
Did you hear that? Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Half-Life 3.
April Fools.
Yeah, okay. Half-Life 3 is actually confirmed, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Two. Wait, is there only one?
There's two Half-Lives.
Didn't they say they're doing a third? There's one video game that people said they weren't going to do one, and I actually read a post about it, and then like a day later they announced that they were actually going to make that video game.
I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff going around.
Yeah,
But if we're going to go into this,
don't go on Reddit or anything. Like honestly, I was following a sports team. Like I followed the Toronto Raptors, and we're in the playoffs right now. And like there was some post about one of the point guards having like an ALC sprain, and I was like, what? And then I realized it was April 1st. I was like, oh, god damn it.
What?
That Pokemon thing now on Google.
Yeah, that Google
I caught them all.
does it.
Really? Caught them
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Interesting. Google always has really good April Fool's jokes. Like they had Gmail or Blue Gmail or whatever last year.
Right.
Then YouTube had they're shutting down YouTube and cataloging and picking.
Did you see the Minecraft one? They're like, oh, we've been bought by Facebook, and then there's a picture of somebody mining, and then over a diamond, it's like, would you like to share on Facebook that you just mined 1 diamond? Oh. And that's probably actually how it would be if it was actually the case.
Farmville, but Minecraft.
But I saw the Google thing, and it came out on the 31st, so yesterday, and it was like, oh, this might actually be legit. And then I realized it was an early one, unless you're in Australia.
They're probably rolling it out for everyone at the same time.
Yeah, because Australia was already on the 1st. And I was like, oh, damn. And then I didn't download Google Maps or whatever. And then Teagan did and actually went through. And if you go to any of the destinations like Niagara Falls, Empire State Building, like the London Bridge or something,
yeah, they're everywhere.
There's 150 Pokemon that you can catch. The original 150, or is it just a random 150? Teagan won't know because she didn't play Pokemon.
I can get the list.
I would assume that it's just the originals.
In the video, they all used original Pokemon, which was awesome because originals.
I'm surprised Nintendo let them do that.
It's a partnership thing.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, Teagan's going through. Let's see all her Pokemon.
Man.
It's cool how on Google Maps the Pokeballs are there on the Pokemon. Oh, that's Dragonair or Dragonite.
Those are all the Pokemon.
Okay, let's see what we got here. No, I think it actually is the Snorlax. I think it is the original.
Snorlax was sleeping in the Vatican.
No, it's random because you have Totodile and you have Cyndaquil and stuff. So it's not Sudowoodo. What up? Okay, this is not a Pokemon
Welcome
podcast.
to the Pop Culture Podcast.
Yeah.
Where we discuss things that are going on in current.
So,
Pop Current times.
So yeah, just take everything with a grain of salt. I'm sure you know that if you're online. Everything seems to be about Facebook or like Oculus Rift technology type things.
Even if it's not April 1st, just double check your sources on the internet.
Yeah. So back to the Rift though. The cover was also released, and it's an interesting one. And you see Aang in his infamous ball of air, earth, water, and fire.
Did anyone see that video of the fire dirt tornado?
No.
Well, somewhere in, I think it's the U.S., but don't quote
When
me
the
on
Fire
this.
Nation attack.
Double check your sources. This is all hearsay. We had a tornado happen. Well, not we, but there was a tornado happen, and it went over a wildfire, picked up the wildfire, and picked up a chunk of dirt, and it looked like one of Aang's air balls.
That's cool. Yeah, like the fire. I forget what you call that one. It's actually a fire tornado. I learned in geography, but I forget.
It's like a Diablo cyclone,
but
something around that.
That's what happens when the Fire Nation attacks.
Everything changed.
But on the cover, you see Aang in his ball of glory, and then you see some. It looks like that demon beast thing that was kind of shaking the ground or whatever, potentially in the Rift Part 1.
We saw like the flash forward thing, or that vision that Yang Chen gave Aang.
Mm-hmm. I also want to mention, we've never really talked about this, but the people who do the art, which we always talk about being good, is from Guhiru or something like that, a Japanese-based comic artist duo made up of two people that obviously go by like kind of aliases, and they're both females, and they both work under aliases, and they do all the artwork for the comics, and they've also written Captain America and Thor comic books and stuff. So I just want to mention that because the artwork again on the cover is pretty brilliant. And I also want to make a comment on how quickly we get these things, because we just got the Rift Part 1 like about a month ago or whatever, and now we're getting the second part, and we'll be doing an interview with Gene in July, and then now November. So it's a good like 4 or 5 month gap.
Yeah, it's kind of like a season, but
even better because now we probably won't be getting Korra for a while. Now that the two big things happen so far, unless they just make it random.
Hey guys, guess what didn't happen at the Kids' Choice Awards? Anything.
Yeah, and instead we got
Mark Wahlberg and slimed,
and Austin Mahone and whatever his name is, and Cody Simpson. So
yeah,
it was a great day for nothing.
It was a great day for Nickelodeon, getting all those young children.
They had two. They had a US one and a UK one, didn't they?
I have no idea.
It was just bad.
I watched the one on Sunday, and I caught the last 3 minutes.
It sucked. But, Nick, that's what they do. So, yeah, the cover of that is out and available I think you can pre-order it, or maybe you can pre-order the third part and the second part, so it's going to be cool. And then maybe we can get the answers to the rest of the Yang Chen story. That'd be very cool. That's what I'm most interested about. Like, I honestly don't really care about Aang and stuff at this point. I want to see more about...
I don't give a crap about him.
I want to see more about Yang Chen.
Seeing as we will never see another Avatar again.
Yeah, apparently.
Sad tear.
Yeah. So we're gonna be talking about now, which is probably like one of the best pieces of news we've received lately because
we don't have any news.
Yeah, but it's actually pretty cool. Is the Legend of Korra Book 2 DVD / Blu-ray release date and special features.
Man, if only that was a release date for, some other thing that we've been hoping for.
Yeah. So IGN ended up giving us the exclusive look at the Book 2 DVD and the Blu-ray, and it's hitting July 1st.
That's like
really soon.
5 days before the Rift Part 2.
Yeah, so
you're getting going to be a lot of goddamn Korra going on.
Yeah, that we'll be talking about and stuff like that. So IGN released a whole slew of special features to come on the DVD, and we got some short clips of the creators talking about certain stuff, and we're going to go through what those are for. So it's going to be interesting. So you have two bundles available. You have the Blu-ray, and then you have the standard edition. So we're going to start first with the Blu-ray. Teagan, do you want to go through what the first thing that you're getting on the Blu-ray is?
Yep. So you're getting an audio commentary from the cast, crew, and creators for 14 episodes.
So last time, there was only, 12 episodes in Season 1, AJ? There was less than Season 2.
Yeah, there was 12 episodes.
So people thought that they were probably going to do... Well, they were hoping not, but they thought they would do 12 episodes of commentary and then they'll leave the other ones up to just be normal. But they're doing all 14 episodes. So, AJ, what do you think about the commentary and from the cast and the crew and everything and the creators? Do you think it's a good thing? I know you enjoy it when we watch the Game of Thrones with the commentary. Do you think it's a good thing?
It's better than not having it.
Yeah.
it can add some insight into what the hell they thought was going on here with the giant blue spirit monster. But I don't know. To get the info behind all the story is always nice, but it's still not the release date. So unless on the last episode they're like, "Hey guys, see you."
Could you imagine?
See you September 18th at 9 p.m. on Nickelodeon. Like, oh, F you.
Teagan, what do you think of this commentary from?
I always think commentary is fun, especially if you're a fan of the show and you've watched it, you know, through again. It's a nice little added thing. Yeah,
I've been watching the House of Cards one over the last couple months of season 1, which is interesting. Last time, though, with the Korra one, we were talking about this over with Morgan and Greg on their podcast. How last time, pretty much, there was no diversity in who we were talking to. It was pretty much Brian and Mike for the whole thing, and then maybe one person like Jen or something, which was fine because still, regardless, it's, you know, the creators and everything. But I know with the Game of Thrones and stuff, they really mix it up and they try to bring the actors that are dominant in that episode. And we're hoping, you know, the beginnings is probably 2 of the best episodes, if not the best episodes from season 2.
Oh, they're definitely the best episodes.
It would be good to see Steven Yeun on the show, who obviously plays Glenn in The Walking Dead, to do some audio commentary on one. That's interesting. I think it's good. And as from our perspective too, it's like, you know,
just as film students, it's nice to see the inner workings of it.
Yeah,
especially not like especially, but the animation side of it is cool to look at, and the director's viewpoint. Pardon my gurgly throat.
Oh, God.
I actually went back and watched all the commentary on the original series.
Oh yeah, they have the commentaries on the original. I knew that. I haven't actually seen them. That would probably be way better, honestly.
They're pretty good. Unfortunately, they didn't do commentaries for the last 4 episodes, like the Citizens Comment series.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I was hoping for like the last one. Like, thanks for being with us.
Did they actually do season 1 all the way to season 3?
They did. Yeah, every single one.
Okay. I wonder if they have them on the DVDs. I wonder if they have them on the Netflix, because like Netflix, sometimes you can go over, if you don't know this, there's a language setting for like subtitles and stuff. You can click that, and sometimes it says commentary, and it reloads it with the commentary. Yeah, I'm interested in this. It's great, and especially now, I've watched Korra season 1 and 2 or 3 times full through. So
did it get any better?
No, not really. That's not an insult. It's just the same.
Not curing with age.
Well, it's not Korra's not one of those series where like there's so little intricate details that if you miss it, completely changes your experience. Like say something like Lost. So it was pretty similar. But if I go back and watch it again, other than like a research purpose, if I'm trying to find something for an episode, then it's going to be with the commentary. Like, I almost enjoy watching television more, especially the second time if I'm watching it over, if it has commentary on it.
And with like the commentaries back there in the other series, they always had characters on.
That's good.
Dante
good.
Bosco, the guys who played Sokka, Katara. I don't think they ever had
Gray.
Aang.
Oh, Zachary.
Tyler, whatever.
Yeah.
The guy. I don't know if he was on. I can't remember. I watched it a couple years ago. But he might have been too young to sit there.
You know who actually played a character in Korra? I found this other Chris Hardwick he plays a character.
God dang it, Chris Hardwick.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
It's probably
because of Janet Varney.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go into that, but they were dating for a while.
Yeah, I don't know, but she still has a podcast on Nerds and everything, so they must be friends. But yeah, he's in there. But let's move on to the next feature. We have a couple more features to go over. So next one is behind-the-scenes look at the creative process of the 17 Book 2 bending scenes, story concepts, scripts, animation, etc. A lot of people are very excited.
You know, it's a good series, a good season of an Avatar show when there's only 17 bending sequences.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. It was that little. Yeah, people are making noise in the background. That's always fun. 17. That's a small amount, but I don't think it's all of them. No, it's just the creative process of 17 of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not all of them.
I retract my previous criticism.
But story concept, scripting, animation, and what we were talking about is how that maybe that you can actually maybe see some of the behind the scenes work for those people. It could give some reason because fans are always like, why the hell isn't stuff coming out right now? And it's like, well, it takes like 9 months to animate one episode, and they're animating like a bunch of episodes together, you know what I mean? So maybe this gives us some more insight. And what I was trying to really say is the fact that this is all being released on a Blu-ray. Why don't they start releasing smaller bits of this just to YouTube to put on like all their social media so people can stay up to date with this and know what's going on? So they're like, why the heck isn't Korra coming? Well, here's the reason why. It takes 9 months.
I have a very good reason for this.
Money.
Nickelodeon.
Oh, well, yeah.
We've discussed lengthy talks about why Nickelodeon doesn't use social media.
Right.
Because they're stupid.
Right. Yeah, well, they have the Coronation. I think they're going to bring that back this year.
Maybe. We'll see.
To unlock the next season. That would be smart. But yeah, I don't know why some of these things aren't kind of released.
Until we get Coronation trending.
Yeah.
No book 3 for you
No book
guys.
3, yeah.
We'll hold out until 2016.
Okay, this is probably, the next feature is probably the worst one. So, Teagan, do you want to go over that one?
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Extended book 1 recap, including 30 minutes of video
So
clips.
they're condensing.
Oh boy.
They're condensing all of book 1 into a 30-minute. That's pretty sad when it can be condensed into. But they miss a lot of parts, I'm assuming, because last when they did this for season 1, they had a 30-minute I don't know.
It's
and it was
like
just
a
bad.
featurette.
It's just bad.
It's like Game of Thrones putting down those 17-minute recaps for the past 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But these are this half the size of one Game of Thrones season.
I'm sure if you're buying the Blu-ray of book 2, you've probably seen book 1, so this feature's almost kind of useless. I guess you'd show this feature to somebody who completely skipped book 1, but why would you? It's so short anyway.
Well, I can name a couple reasons why.
Well, actually, honestly,
considering that the plot does not, have
a lot of people like book 1 more than book 2.
Me.
And ratings show too that book 1 is more successful than book 2. So I don't know.
There's many reasons for that, but
I like book 2 more, but book 1 seems to be the consensus that it's better.
I like the Juan episodes.
Yeah, I like the one. Well, those are rated the highest, and we're going to get to ratings in a bit. But the next is interview with co-creators analyzing Tenzin's familial relationship with his children.
Familial. Oh boy.
Relationships
That's a nice word.
with his children and siblings. Well, his family. That's what that means, I guess.
Familial means family.
And it's a real word, so don't even it says that on the ing thing as well.
Ohana means family.
Oh, God.
And family means no one is left behind.
Familial, of relating to or occurring in a family or its members. So I think this is
Thanks.
I think this is probably one of the best.
That definition brought to you by Google.
I think this is probably one of the best features because maybe we can see some more insight into Tenzin's story arc, which is probably the best of season 2 in terms of actually having growth and actually having some sort of development in some way. So Tenzin, you'll get to see his relationship more with his children, his siblings, and maybe how Katara and Aang are kind of involved, because it kind of comes across as Aang was potentially a bad parent, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. Like we've discussed, I think it's more of probably Tenzin needed a little bit more time because he's now the last Airbender, so you're gonna have to be a father and a teacher. So maybe
the last-ish Airbender,
Maybe it'll actually say no. Aang was not a terrible father. It was just phrased badly by us. But this is going to be good because
we just fucked up like we do with the rest of the series. Whoops.
Jinora, Iki, Milo, Pema. We'll see more of that. Hopefully, maybe some Kaya and Boomy. So that'd be interesting.
Don't worry. Next season we got a whole lot of Boomy.
Boomy, yeah, that's going to be great. Okay, next is interview with co-creators. Thanks for doing that, Teagan. The next bullet point. Interview with co-creators and analyzing the family dynamics in the season. So now we're going to see more insight into Korra with her dad and her mom. And we talked about this on the other podcast about how some of the defining moments of the first part of season 2 were actually Korra's mom and Korra talking. That was some good dialogue. Mm-hmm. And probably, you saw a little bit of character into why Korra's maybe certain ways, because her dad's, this brash, not very spiritual leader that was, banned from the Northern Water Tribe, so that Korra gets her
banished, and he lost his honor.
Yeah.
Where is my honor? I must redeem my honor.
So Korra gets her kind of attitude from that, but then sometimes when you see the softer side of Korra, you can see that maybe from her mother. So it'll be interesting to see more into that family dynamic because, again, we don't really know how she was raised other than they kind of protected her because
For
she
all
was
we
the
know,
Avatar.
parents might not have been involved that much.
Yeah,
She
so
may have been raised by Katara,
yeah,
which would be weird.
yeah, it would be weird. Raising
You're my dead husband.
you're my dead husband reincarnated. Now, if you're looking at just the normal features of the DVD, again, they're not as good. The quality's different. I know one comment was like, I don't really even see a difference in the quality. Well, if you're running an HD at 720 on the normal edition, there is a difference because the Blu-ray's 1080. So it might not be that much, but it's a significant difference.
You can definitely tell. Like I recently did the switch from DVD to Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And there's a definite like,
even if you're running the DVD on like a nice new TV, you're gonna see the difference.
Yeah.
Not to mention the features that you get with the Blu-ray outweigh the features. Like on this one we're just gonna run through them because they're not as important. Audio commentary from cast and crew on 4 episodes, 4 only, and that'll be the crap episodes at the beginning.
Yeah. So you can continue, but really if you're gonna the only reason you would buy DVD or Blu-ray now is for the features because one way or another you can get the episodes and eventually they'll probably go on Netflix.
And we'll talk about why you should probably buy a Blu-ray player here in a second. Behind the scenes look at creative processes of 2 of the bending scenes in the book. Interview with creators talking about Korra's family dynamic. So the only feature that's like good and that you get that carries over is the interview with about the family. You don't even get the extended book 1 recap.
Oh no!
oh dang!
The best feature. Another thing that was included, that wasn't included, was those little shorts that they had. They made about
Public City Hustle
and stuff like that. They didn't include those.
That might
been on the book
one DVD.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
They didn't include that, but if that's already included, that's fine. But why you should buy a Blu-ray player is the fact that they're so cheap now anyway. It's like the DVD player. Like at first when the DVD player came out, it was like $1,000. I remember I waited a couple of years to get my DVD player and it was so much cheaper.
If you have
a PS3 or a PS4, right?
Or
PS4?
PS4, I think the Xbox One now runs
Blu-ray?
Blu-ray because they would catch up with PlayStation. But
go buy a PS3. It's way
honestly,
cheaper.
Either way, and even if you're running a DVD player, run it through an HDMI cord. Don't run it through your...
And HDMI cords you can get for like $25 unless you're Apple and then you have to pay $50 for your HDMI cord. But you bought the Apple product, so you probably can afford. You can
probably afford it. Either way.
But yeah, like the PS3, I'm not trying to sell the PS3 or anything, but it's cheap. AJ just got one. It's fairly cheap now because the PS4 is out. They're going to be making games for the PS3 probably until you're going to...
If you look at the example of the PlayStation... Okay, welcome to the Cast Vendor gaming portion.
Yeah.
If you look at the PS2, the highest selling console, whatever, blah, 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 longest running thing, the last game to be produced for the PS2 was FIFA 14.
Yeah, so they were making games for that system all the way up until
last year.
Until they released essentially the new system. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say it's a ripoff or a not a good investment to get a PS3 because, again, honestly, it is. And not the Xbox because it doesn't have one, but...
Yeah.
Even if you get a refurbished one, it's $190
I know,
for a refurbished PS3.
I know Greg was talking about on the podcast how he kind of always just didn't upgrade, but now he's actually going to think about upgrading because it's so cheap. If you buy a Blu-ray player, if you're not into gaming, Blu-ray players are like $150. So it's worth it because when you're buying DVDs or Blu-rays now, they're not that much more expensive or they're the same price. So
I think there's just like a $5.
Yeah, and at Walmart they price match shit, so it's gonna be way cheaper. So you'll be able to get justify it because it's gonna be a good investment. Because I remember at one point I didn't think Blu-ray was gonna catch on, but I guess that's what they said about the DVD player. Well, even though that makes no sense, the DVD player just makes so much more sense than the VCR.
Yeah, my family bought a Blu-ray player and it lasted for like 6 months, and then even though we weren't big into gaming. We just bought the PS3 because the price difference wasn't that much, and now you can buy games and Blu-rays.
Yeah, and I know Keval tried to justify later in the article why you should buy the Blu-ray, and a lot of times they drop it down within the week of the price because there's a big gap right now. Or if you go to Walmart and stuff, they price match. So you can get it cheap.
I lied. There's a $20 difference but that's only because there's a sale on Amazon right now.
Right. Okay. But honestly, for the features, it's worth it. And if you're a fan, then you'll probably invest in it anyway. So that's why I'd get it. Now we're gonna take a little bit of a break. You guys are gonna listen to some music from the Squeaky Chair Band. I believe that's what they're called. Some indie band. So of course they're called the Squeaky Chair.
Oh, this chair doesn't squeak. Dang it.
And we'll be back talking about IMDb inaccuracies and also another IMDb thing regarding stats in the season. And then we're going to talk finally about a contest that we're going to be hosting. So we'll see you after the break.
I'm getting tired of crossing my fingers. I've lost touch from all the exclusion. Big house is only a building, but good friends won't ever forget you. And who would lie, awake to find out why? Day will give me the feeling, so I stay when the seasons are changing.
We're back, everybody. What's up? You just listened to the Squeaky Chair Band, and we're back with what we're going to talk about, some IMDb stuff. So Teagan, you're going to start with the first bit.
Yeah, so March 21st, Keval posted an article about IMDb because apparently he had found out that they had posted a release date for Book 3. So I guess he went and investigated. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that on IMDb you can submit stuff, but it has to be approved. So he went and submitted just some random date. And then a couple days he went back and it was approved. So basically, the moral of the article and the story is do not believe IMDb.
Okay, and so that's going to launch our discussion. So IMDb, if you don't know what it is, it's an international movie...
I think it's Internet Movie Database.
Internet? Okay, yeah. Internet Movie Database. It's a great website. Like, they usually get most stuff right. They have all the information there for any movie you want, and television.
Yeah, it's usually best to go on there after something has come out.
Yeah, it's like Wikipedia.
You want to check a cast member, they got your back.
Yeah, and it's kind of worse than Wikipedia, because usually Wikipedia, it has a source, and then you can, people are like, don't use Wikipedia like as your sources. Well,
even though it's better than
if there's
other thing.
Yeah, there's a statement, and it usually has a number beside it. You can go down and find how they claim that source, and if it's right or not. On IMDb, it's not really like that, so it's kind of like it's either correct or not, but you don't really know. So, pardon me. So IMDb is usually quite correct.
Some good coughing there.
Yeah, swallowed wrong. So I wouldn't say don't ever go on IMDb, and it's 13 degrees here right now. Yes, good job, AJ.
I did it.
It's the warmest it's been in a while. 13 degrees, which is like what?
Celsius.
Celsius. What is it in America?
13 degrees Fahrenheit.
Maybe that's why America thinks we're all in igloos. Because we say, it's really warm out, it's 13 degrees.
It must be, like 50-something, and...
Hold on.
Oh, here we go.
But I'll continue on with this. So, essentially, Keval, changed the release date.
55.
He changed the release date of what it was, claimed to be, just to prove to everybody that probably don't go on IMDb until somebody actually has confirmed it. And you probably would only take a reliable source, and I would only probably say the creators or Nickelodeon would be the ones to release it.
Or, maybe...
Me.
Yeah, Castbender Podcast. We already know the release date, so...
Yeah, we're just holding it from everybody.
Yeah, and until you get Castbender Nation trending on Twitter, you can't have the release date.
I know Morgan broke news once. Remember how he was talking about it, how it's his shining moment as breaking news? The kids' novel versions of the book? He broke the news that they canceled that and they never said anything. So because he like emailed the publisher saying when's the next one coming out, and they emailed him back and like, oh, it's not coming out. So,
That's not a thing. That doesn't.
because it sucks so bad. So he broke.
We don't
that.
talk about that.
I don't think Castbender broke any news ever.
Dang it.
Have we? I think we might have actually one time.
We've live tweeted events, but we
Yeah,
haven't, like,
that
broken
was
news.
no, but we were the fastest at doing it that one time. But yeah, we've never broken any.
We attempted to do that for a while. Then we gave up.
Yeah, it's not worth it. We'll leave it to the big
We
boys.
tried to do that with what was the Nick Up Front thing this year,
Yeah.
and then nothing happened.
No.
So man, we're good.
Everybody was hounding that, so I wouldn't even think that we would break it. But so Keval, he just completely confirmed that it was just bullcrap, that you can submit anything you want. And comments about this. People are basically just saying that, yay, thanks for letting us know. And then half the comments are not even really about it. People are just, again, speculating that, one person said, Laneskeeper said, Kevin, I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one. Please forgive me, but in Avatar universe, you are considered an accurate source of information. So that's why IMDb made the change so fast. I appreciate the kind words, but my IMDb account, which was my Facebook account, is not linked to the blog in any way. So this person was saying that Kevil's like a reliable source within the Avatar universe, so therefore that's why IMDb...
That's what you think.
That's why IMDb said that it was okay, but again, Keval said, I just did it on a random account.
Yeah.
And maybe we need to talk about that the fact that if IMDb being like a legitimate professional source for trying to find information about actors and stuff, maybe they should keep it professional in terms of like you have to prove something on submission, like you have to prove your credentials that you're actually probably,
Welcome to the Castbender Film Critic Podcast.
Film Critic Podcast, yeah. What are some other comments? Certainly it's possible, but I think you can remain anonymous when updating on IMDb. Yeah, why can you be anonymous and update stuff on IMDb? I don't really get that.
My question is, why would you go and update IMDb?
Do
something else with your time.
Yeah, like when they named like Book 2 Agni Kai or something randomly and people were believing that.
I'm really bored today. I think I'm going to go screw with some IMDb pages.
And then leak it very slowly to the rest of the internet that the book's coming out. One comment said...
Have an anonymous source, an anonymous tip from the inside.
Yep. One person said that we have to stick to Nick and Brian announcements. Anything else is mere speculation. However, we have to keep an eye on the blogs, web pages, and communities since they actually may be a source of important information. Let's keep them on attention, including international communities.
Again.
That's what you need to keep on track, though. International. They've been breaking all the news so far. So if anything, you can come to like our websites, but most likely the international sites are going to be breaking the news because that's the pattern so far with
You're
Book 3.
forgetting, we are in Canada, which is international.
Right. We're going to break all the news.
Back in long ago, it was speculated that Canada was going to get Book 2 first.
Right. We didn't. We got it at the same time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, but at first it was like, hey, look at Canada get something first this time. Then
People were so mad that Canada was getting it first, and we're like, wait, so you get it first all the time, now you're mad that you don't. Like
then we firmly got our head smacked.
Only one person was really... That was before the general upbringing of hate that we've received.
Yay, hatred.
But people just say, honestly... one person says, I honestly don't care when Book 3 comes out, or whatever happens.
She's a liar.
I think we need to learn that we are in no control of what happens, so why fuss anymore? All I know is I'm excited for Book 3. I guess there's some merit, like... We shouldn't even really try to put a lot of effort into this anymore because it's not going to matter.
Which leads me to my next point. Today is the last day for Castbender.
Yeah, last day.
We are quitting.
Don't go into the allegations.
All right. There may be some
illegal
activity around me right now.
It has to do with Mitt Romney on the internet.
Yes. If you have listened to this podcast, if you take nothing else away, Mitt Romney steals the internet.
Mitt Romney steals the internet.
This is it.
I'm sorry if you love Mitt Romney.
Oh no! Help!
AJ's completely been now kidnapped by the government of the U.S., even though that's not our government. But I want to move over now from government scandals to ratings. So I posted about a week or two ago, 2 charts. The Legend of Korra episode chart and the Avatar The Last Airbender episode chart. And what these charts basically went through was the ratings of each episodes, and it's just basically season 1 and 2, and we'll start with Korra because that's the series on right now. So, by looking at the numbers, there's never been an episode rated higher than an 8.75. It didn't even hit 9. There's been no episode that's rated 9, and we're on a scale of 1 to 10. And if you've ever been to IMDb, you see it's on a 1 to 10 scale of stars. And then we've never had an episode of Korra that's lower than 8. So basically, just off of these numbers alone, AJ, just that we know that the lowest has been 8 and the highest has not even been a 9. What do you think? Are you generally impressed that there hasn't been something lower than an 8?
I'm generally impressed. I just broke away from that government agent. But yes.
Right.
Yes. It's really surprising that even the beginnings didn't break a 9, because...
They were pretty good.
Yeah, they were probably the best episodes in Korra so far.
Mm-hmm. And some of the ones that I'd say would stack up in the whole thing. How about something only as low as an 8? I know, like, there's been, criticism for the series, but
I would definitely...
Eight's pretty high.
I would definitely rate a lot of the episodes lower than an 8.
Yeah.
Is this credible here? Like
IMDb, it's based off of critic. It's critic and user rated, so it's user
if we were
generated.
to take something like this to Rotten Tomatoes, I think we would get
Worse?
a more accurate representation of the fandom and how they feel.
But no, you can also vote as anybody on IMDb. Because if I go, I'll go here just to prove.
This is real time.
But so, how about you, Teagan? I know you like season 1 better than season 2, like a lot of people. How do you feel something not even like we love Korra, but 8's pretty high, even for the worst episode. Do you think any episode is deserving of less?
Yes, maybe. Well, I don't know. It's tough. And as you said, like, user ratings. So a show that's got a big, fandom could have a ton of people who rate every episode 10 just because they love every episode, right?
Because you have... here you go. You have 37,000 users... AJ just died. You have 37,000
uteruses.
User reviews, and you have 11 critic.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure how to take this one. So, what is the percentage wise, like how much do the 11 critics count for out of that?
Very low.
Yeah.
And overall, Legend of Korra as a series...
Could we get those critic reviews? Man, them 2 stars.
They were actually pretty good.
Yeah.
The overall rating for Legend of Korra is an 8.7. How do you feel about that? Just right off the bat, instant reaction.
All right, it's not a bad show, and it deserves... I don't think it deserves that high, but it deserves, like, a 7.
As of right now,
I would say a 7. Yeah.
Because you have great animation.
It's average.
You have great animation, you have great music.
It's a good universe. Like, it's a good, starting point, obviously.
Damn coattails, man.
Yeah, so I think that it's fairly high, and if you look at the numbers... the beginnings part 1 and 2 rated 8.9 and 8.9 respectively, and it shows the actual votes on that too. So the 8.9 is based off of 533 votes, and part 2 is based off of 601 votes. Now, if you look at the lowest episode, which was season 2, episode 2, The Southern Lights, which is tied with a bunch.
I like that episode.
That's rated an 8.1 based off of 243 votes, and that's also tied along with The Guide, which has an 8, and The Darkness Falls, which is an 8. So
The Guide is the one where it's like Jinora,
I think so,
walking her, and I didn't like that one.
But now another aspect to look at is the sporadic nature of season 2. So you have things that are all over the place. You have episodes that are an 8.5, you that are 8.1. You have some that are almost 9. But
when we say sporadic, they're all within 1 point of each other.
But on a map, if you're looking at it, it's quite different compared to season 1, where everything is very, very close. The lowest is an 8.2 based off of 360 votes, and everything's within it. Nothing gets higher than an 8, but nothing is lower than an 8. So it's all within that. What do you say? Is there more consistency in book 1 than there was in book 2? AJ, we'll start with you.
There's definitely more consistency, but If you look at book 2 as a whole, the storyline itself is very broken.
Right.
You had the war thing that they did for a while. Then they had the beginnings, and they had all the spirit world bullcrap.
Mm-hmm.
There's definite trends you can see. Like, a lot of people like the beginnings, obviously.
Right.
And
It's great. It's just great.
a
It's
lot
storytelling.
of people didn't like the war stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
the content of those episodes is criticized more heavily than something that is inherently good to the fandom.
Right. And in Teagan, what do you think?
I think, as AJ said, that the book 2 definitely had sort of like a more sporadic plot, which could definitely explain
Why it's all over the place?
Yeah. And I also think it's important to point out that in the graph, there's kind of like a line that shows the average, and it has seen a decrease in ratings.
Slight, yeah.
From
a
season
decrease
1.
from 8 point something
Yeah,
to an 8
it's
point
still
something.
a decrease.
But if you're actually looking at the numbers, there is a trend that is going down.
Yeah, so despite that season 2 had those, the beginnings, part 1 and part 2, that are the highest rating episodes for the series, season 2 still has a lower average rating.
Now, I'll pose this question to you too, just to kind of put things in perspective for those that, sometimes could doubt this. On average, I know viewership, they calculate, even though it's based off of really nothing, it's just kind of averages. Korra Book 2 got around, 2 million views per episode?
Ish.
And only like 500 to 1,000 people are voting on these episodes. So it's not really the best representation, but it's fair. It's fair.
It's the same thing with every TV show.
Yeah,
Like, you don't see all the 10 million people who watch the finale for Breaking Bad pop
Yeah,
on.
or the 15 million that just broke a record for the last episode of The Walking Dead. Not all of them are doing that. But do you guys think you'll see a general increase in Book 3? I know we don't know really how Book 3 is going to go. Viewership and ratings.
I'm not going to speculate on ratings.
Or IMDb ratings.
Okay.
Do you think they're going to go up? You're going to see more
I'm going to
nines?
see a general trend of somewhere in the 8 region.
Yeah.
You think you're going to see more eights?
Good
though?
guess.
I'm going to say that following the trend we see here, they'll produce content that the viewers and the people rating it will consider it an 8.
Yeah, AJ,
overall.
you did data and stuff. You're a math guy, so
I'm
you
AJ
said
the math guy.
AJ the math guy. So you'd say
AJ the math guy who's studying film because he couldn't get into business.
so. You think
Oh.
your average
It's all turned so
AJ
dark.
the loser cast didn't get into business.
Welcome to the shame-filled Castbender podcast.
But so you think that more eights? I think it's going to be consistent.
Yes.
Do you think you're going to see any episodes drop below an 8 though? Maybe even 1?
It's quite possible that we might get a 7.9.
That's how 7.9. How about you, Teagan? Do you think there's going to be
We might even get a 9.1.
If you look at the trends on the other shows, they can go from 8 to 9s to 7s. Like, Korra's consistent. If you look at some of the other great shows, like Mad Men and stuff, they have 7s and 6s.
Yeah.
Maybe because the audience that are voting on these are more critical. I don't know. There's a lot of facets.
Maybe there's more than 11 critics.
Yeah.
Or user-generated views.
See, and it's tough because, Korra is like a teen directed show. So if a child's watching it, it's not like, well, I'm done that. I'm going to log on to IMDb.
And rate it.
So
is that a testament to the people who are actually voting on IMDb are older and therefore maybe more critical and know what they're talking about?
And
Or they
perhaps
could just be Tumblr users that stumble across it.
yeah,
true.
I don't know. I feel like for a show like this, the people who are voting are either giving their honest opinion or just voting to make their favorite show appear better. So it's tough. And on your question that I went away from completely,
Jeez.
as of right now, just looking at the trends, it would appear that the story will continue to get, or the ratings, will continue to get worse. But then again, we have no idea. And I've seen other shows where they were on a downward slope and then they've improved. So at this point, I don't think it's possible to speculate.
I think it'll get better. And I know there's no basis for that claim, but the promising nature of Book 3, I think See, personally, for me, I'm going to bring in the personal element. I didn't really like the spirit side of things as much, and
We just got real personal up in here.
I think season 3 maybe hopefully getting away from that side. I'll personally enjoy it more, and you might see higher ratings for some people, but I think it'll be fairly consistent. I think you'll see a lot more 8s.
The thing that Korra needs to do is to have a steady plot line.
Right, but remember, this they're doing this different than Avatar: The Last Airbender, where instead of creating an overarch, they're doing more. And that's a trend.
I'm aware, but that doesn't mean you have to have a sporadic plot. Avatar: The Last Airbender, even in one season, it had like a fairly potent story arc, but it had the sporadicness of it, like there was the chase or the cave thing.
And those episodes are useful, like we said before.
But it didn't take away from the the story.
And the ratings for those episodes were great. And we're going to talk about those ones.
But what we have here with Korra is we have 3 different plots in the same thing.
Yeah.
3 plots that compete with each other. Those other smaller plots in Avatar: The Last Airbender didn't compete with the overarching plot. So if we have Book 3 change, have a general start, here's the problem, here's the conflict, here's the resolution, the general thing that happens, we might have, who knows, maybe a Korra and Asami makeout session in the middle of it that causes some tension.
9.9 on that.
10.2.
The first 10 on IMDb.
First 10, yeah.
We might have some other side plots that go on. Those are completely fine. But we need to have a general plot that people will enjoy.
Right, all the way through, consistently.
Yeah, instead of these like teases of good plots.
Now, remember, this is voted, this series as a whole on IMDb of all TV is the 82nd best show according to the
second
ratings.
best show ever.
Second best show. Actually, no, that's Cosmos, but behind Breaking Bad is number 1. But it's 82nd out of all the television shows that's ever been out. So that's a fairly high ranking. That's in the top 100. Now let's transition that into Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is now voted the 14th best show of all time on IMDb. Only to be beaten by things like The Sopranos, Cosmos, Planet Earth, Game of Thrones.
It's the highest animated.
It is the highest animated, yeah. And again, you have other great shows ahead of it. You have Firefly, The Wire, Breaking Bad, Sherlock. All these shows are very high budget and very well thought out. So it's kind of like the next highest animated show is Batman the Animated Series. Yeah. And that's
this
19.
beats out all of like the Japanese anime, all of
It beat out The
American,
Simpsons, which
it
is
beats
a
out
huge show.
every single other animated show.
And while this is more of a North American based website, it still is a testament to it's a great show. So let's look at the numbers for this one. Now, it's all fleshed out because it's 3 seasons, completely done. If you look at the overall ranking, you have a 9.1 for this series based off of 78,618 users and 35 critic reviews and 206 user reviews. So 9.1 is fairly high. That's like a great number for a series.
That's a 91%. That's an A. That is an A+.
So, and there's 3 seasons. So now, this series has been fleshed out, so I think maybe with Korra, after all is said and done with 4 seasons, you might see the numbers actually increase as people go back and view and rate them. But
it'll be
close.
interesting to see.
I think it'll be close because Korra's already an 8 and Avatar's at 9, and I wish I'd known before. Maybe we could go back on the time machine thing and look at what the ratings of the show was right after.
I thought you meant an actual time machine. Like, you got a time machine, you Benjamin Franklin up in here?
No, after season 1, what the rating was like after season 2. We could probably calculate that, but I'm not going to because I'm lazy.
Where's your TARDIS?
But the highest episode rating ever was the finale of all of Avatar, so season 3, episode 21. So let's call it part 4, Avatar Aang. And that's an 8.9.
Because it's the best episode.
That's tied with the beginnings part 1 and 2. Okay? And that's based off of way more votes, though. That's based off of 790 votes, almost 800 votes. H is peering over just to make sure.
I can't see you.
Now each...
Do you want me to do the rest of the podcast like this, guys?
Yeah.
It's good?
Each season has seen a slope upwards in terms of how good. Now, Avatar: The Last Airbender actually has an episode in the 7-1, The Great Divide.
This poor episode. That's what I was talking
like
about.
that episode.
I think it's an
It's a horrible episode.
I think it's okay.
No,
I don't-
I like it.
It's accurate. It's a 7. I would say more actually episodes in Avatar is probably worth a 7. But
How much is the Ember Island Players? It's the 5th last episode.
5th last Ember Island Players is an 8.3.
Holy balls!
Yeah. So
That is by far the worst episode
Now-
out of Avatar.
in this range, you see a lot more shows that are hitting 8 to 8.5 again. So it's the same. It's the same as
Yeah.
the same as Korra so far.
How is it if the episode, the highest rated episode is what, an 8 point what?
9,
Yeah.
8.9.
How is the series as a whole rated a 9.1?
I think because you can vote for each episode, but then overall you can just put the series.
This makes sense. Logic.
But this is a little bit different because the overall trend is an upward slope. So
Yeah.
it generally got better, and I think we all agree that Avatar probably got better as the seasons went on. And the weakest episodes were in season 1 overall,
And
and
that's probably just due to lack of leadership.
Yeah.
season 2 was the most consistent. And I'd say, yeah. And season 3 had the highest. Now you and again you had in season 1 the highest rated episode was an 8.8 with the Siege of the North Part 2, and then in season 2 you had the Crossroads of Destiny, which was an 8.8. And then
That is a really good episode.
it's actually kind of funny. Sozen Comet Part 1 to 4, there's a steep incline in this
Yeah.
number from an 8.6 to an 8.9, which is small, but on the graph it's huge. So
I know it doesn't look that big, but if you look at it on a graph, man.
yeah. AJ's yawning like a beast over there. So now, what I really want to ask you guys, the consistency of the numbers of 8 in Avatar: The Last Airbender, is it fair to say that even though people said Avatar: The Last Airbender is a better series than Korra, that's not even a fair assumption, and that they're both now equal on playing ground according to the ratings they are? What would you say, AJ?
Well,
And you're pretty far away, so come in, be part of the group, be part of the circle. What do you say, AJ?
All right, so I'm going to get up close and personal with the mic now.
Okay, he's got a lot to say.
I would say that it doesn't matter because the Avatar: The Last Airbender storyline itself was better
Okay,
to most people anyway.
right.
The ratings don't really matter that much.
They don't. Okay.
It's the same with like viewership. You can have a really shitty show that has a really good ratings. Like, I don't want to point fingers and name names.
Big Bang
but
Theory or something like that.
Yeah, like something that's trashy, Jersey Shore,
Right.
that has
Or Firefly that was canceled even though it's a good show.
It has really good ratings, really high viewership, but it's shit.
Yeah.
And as we've criticized IMDb before, it's not overly reliable.
Mhm.
But
These people are actually rating.
Avatar: The Last Airbender is
Better.
better
But how about at the end after all 4 seasons?
after all 4 seasons.
And if it has the same, if it says if Korra season 3 and season 4 stay in 8s or even potentially higher, will it matter? Say that the last 2 seasons get almost all exclusively high 8s and 9s.
I would, one, I would eat my hat,
Yeah.
and 2, I really hope that they're good.
Yeah, I do too.
I want Korra to surpass Avatar.
Oh, I definitely
really
do too.
want it to.
There's no benefit for it not to.
It's just some jaded mother trucker
Yeah.
sitting here just, no, my show's good, it's better. it'll
Korra
never
can't be better.
I won't let it.
Teagan, what do you think?
Yeah, like AJ said, I definitely think that a lot of it sort of relies on what's going to happen in book 3. Because as I've said, the trend is,
Down.
yeah, it's going down for Korra.
No,
But,
no,
you know,
no.
it could change. If the next season's fantastic, who knows? Maybe it will be better than Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, at this present moment, Avatar has better ratings, and I personally think it's better.
Mm-hmm.
But that's saying we're only halfway through.
Korra's more
Who
consistent
knows?
too. If you
Oh,
look
yeah.
at each season, the slope for each season of Avatar has been on a steeper slope, where Korra has been like almost a direct line. regardless, does that mean it's better if it's more consistent? No, not always. But like the numbers indicate that the difference between the shows maybe isn't as big, and maybe the formatting I think really derails a lot of people, and that's a fair point. But in terms of actual content, maybe they're a lot more similar than a lot of people think.
All right. Well, I'm gonna make a case for why there's an upward trend with Avatar, and why there's
A downward?
a steady down,
Okay.
a general, just tiny downward trend.
Right.
We see with Avatar, the first season anyway, it's not as nice looking as the rest of the 2 seasons, and that's why it's just a startup show, right? The first season tends to have
The aesthetics
bad
aren't as good.
ratings. Breaking Bad has terrible ratings for its first season.
Generally, yeah.
But as we see, there's a great upward slope with the other 2 seasons, as not only does the animation improve, but the storyline improves, the acting improves, and then we see that plateau with Korra, because not only have the creators reached that level, but so is the animation, so is all the story, whatnot. And the storyline is not as good, and that's why there's a small general decrease in ratings.
It's harder to say too, because like now I'm looking at the Breaking Bad one, and the numbers on the Breaking Bad episode or seasons are so much up and down. Like season 1 actually did really well. And the slope is not that steep; it's quite linear. But then you look at season 3, and it's like up, down, up, down, up, down. And season 4 is completely like a beeline upwards. Like the whole season just completely got better. So it's hard because in the increased slope of Avatar: Last Airbender was from an 8 to an 8.5. That's the big increase in slope. Where in Breaking Bad, it's an 8.5 or almost an 8.75 to a 9.5. So like that's small too, but generally a little bit bigger. So I don't know. I think what everybody needs to do is listening is if you think Avatar is ultimately 100 times better than Korra, maybe look at the numbers and like maybe adjust your perspective a little bit. And there's a bunch of other factors in place, like AJ mentioned, the time it was produced, the story structure. Like I said, Korra is structured a lot differently than Avatar was ever structured. And there's a bunch of different facets, but those are the numbers from IMDb, the user ratings, as flawed as they may be in some regards. I think it's still a very interesting case to look at and what was done to show that. So, and you can look up a bunch of other shows. It's called graphtv.kevinformatics.com. And it on the graphs, when I posted them on Twitter, it said it down in the corner. So, you guys, we're going to be talking now about this thing we're doing, and
we're doing many dicks.
It's cool. So
this, unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, is not an April Fool's joke.
No, this is not. So people have been complaining with the lack of news lately. Now we've actually hit the off-season dull point. Like there's nothing.
We've hit that dry spell.
Where
we're pulling up Avatar.
Keval had to write an article about it because there was nothing to say, so he wrote an article.
He had to write an article on how the off season requires no articles.
Yeah, that's the point it's gotten to, and I applaud Keval for even being able to write an article about completely nothing. So
man, we've been doing podcasts about nothing for about 3 years now.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing Castbender's first King of Characters, and what that means is with March Madness, if you follow any sports or any kind of fandom Star Wars is doing, this is Madness.
This is Sparta.
You have your brackets, so you have your characters that face off against each other, or teams that face off against each other, and whoever wins by the most amount of votes or whatever, or skill, goes on to the next round.
If you've seen Hypel's Battleships, it's the same deal
concept.
here.
So what I'm going to do is I've created it, and we're going to launch it on the 4th of April, I believe. If everything goes as planned, it might be a week later. It's going to happen. That regardless, it's going to happen.
Eventually, you'll have this thing.
We're just going to get more people on board so it gets more votes. That's essentially what we're going to do. So I have the list here of all the characters, even some minor characters. There's probably about 100 characters, give or take, that are going to compete in this. So it's going to be a long...
100 all balls.
You have everybody from President Raiko to freaking Korra.
You know, I could chop off half of these characters right now.
Well, yeah, I know, and a lot of them are going to lose, but this is the point. Who's the best? We don't know. Maybe freaking Ty Lee's going to make it all the way to the end.
I have a feeling
That
That
Korra's
is,
going to win?
Is it like Avatar: Last Airbender characters too?
Both.
All right. So in the end, the final four probably going to be Zuko, Katara, Korra, and Aang.
You think? I'm going
If
to say
they don't face off against each other earlier.
I'm going to say Toph,
all tough. Yeah.
Iroh. Those are my two picks but I think Korra's going to win. Not because I want her to win, but I'm just saying I think Korra's going to win. Form, yeah. So essentially, it's going to be the first king of characters, and I'm going to try to run this
King
every
or queen.
King or
we're
queen.
We're not sexist here.
No, I put king
Maybe
because
a
it
little
worked
bit.
better. The K, I know it's K and C, but like king of characters, it sounded better, so I couldn't. And I didn't think of. I guess you could put champion of characters, but it was just too long.
King of Korra.
King of Korra. So, yeah, a girl can win, a guy can win, and we're gonna start. AJ,
Hold on.
what?
The big question here is Appa featured.
Yes, Appa's gonna be featured.
Okay, Appa wins.
Appa was originally on the original poster, but I took him off.
Bastard.
Whoa.
That was a lawnmower.
We're going to be abducted here. So what we're going to do is AJ and I, it's up to us to pick who goes head-to-head first. Yeah.
Oh.
So we could be complete dicks and put up two, like, I think we're going to
Aang
make it...
versus Korra.
I think we're going to make it tough to begin with. But we're going to space it out so there's, like, good battles every week.
All right.
So there's going to be multiple ones that you can vote on, and then you'll be able to vote, and you can only vote once, and you're not going to be able to see how many votes for each, because we don't want it to be like, oh, Korra's losing, go vote for Korra. So it's going to be completely unknown to everybody until it actually happens the day that we announce it.
Also, we will manipulate every single vote.
Yes, Iroh, 500 votes. UA 1.
Oh, God.
So I'm going to be posting that soon, and I think the graphic looks pretty cool. And then
So do you want to decide who's going first right now?
Uh,
Let's do this.
okay.
Real time. This is
Okay.
the first I've heard about this.
Okay, I'm going to put... Okay, I'll pick one character, and you pick one character, okay?
All right.
I pick Mako.
Mako, eh?
Okay, just be a little bit careful. We don't want to go too hard.
Mako versus Zuko. No.
Maybe Tarlok.
Tarlok. No, not Tarlok.
Roshi. Tonrak. Vatu Rava.
The Cabbage Man.
The Cabbage Man.
Yes.
Mako versus the Cabbage Man.
I
Dude,
support that
I
decision.
think the Cabbage Man's going to win a lot of like, honestly. Okay, so you heard it here first. It's Mako versus...
As opposed to the other Castbender podcast.
Yeah.
Now, there's going to be a couple other ones you're going to vote on, but that's the first one that we're announcing. Mako versus the Cabbage Man. So you get to pick. And remember, you guys are ultimately the ones that are picking this. So if you want a character to win, you might have to, promote your character to go win. So if you're a really
They have to play some dirty games.
if you're a big Combustion Man fan, then like
Sparky Boom Man.
Sparky Boom or the Boulder.
The Boulder
I was voting for the
feels
Boulder.
conflicted about going into a tournament against every character ever.
So you guys are gonna have. I hope you're gonna have fun with that. That will give everybody a little bit of a fun thing to do while we're waiting for more information on Book 3 and stuff like that. So
With any luck, this will go on for about 20 years.
yeah. So if that's the end of the show, and I'm gonna give you some contact information now. You can go to our website castbender.ca to get everything you need to know about Castbender. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Castbender. Twitter, twitter.com/Castbender, and YouTube, youtube.com/Castbender Podcast, where we upload this episode, which most of you listen to on, so you can subscribe and comment and like. You can also find us on iTunes if you type in Castbender or Castbender Podcast, or just type in Korra Podcast.
Unlike IMDb, ratings matter there.
Yeah, ratings matter.
Let's give us a 5-star,
5 Pabus.
or I'll hit you with a dead pabu.
Yeah, okay. And
I'll find you.
if you were gracious...
All 1,000 people.
Yeah, if you're gracious enough to give us a written review, that would be very awesome, and we'll give you a shout out in the show. You can listen to us on Stitcher Radio. There's a bunch of feeds. You can find us over on Keval's website, avatarthelegendofkorraonline.com. What else do we need to go on? The Squeaky Chair Band for the music this week. We'll be back next week.
No, we won't.
No, we won't. This is the last episode ever. Actually, no.
I'm currently being abducted by the government again.
Yeah, by Mitt Romney.
Yes.
Even though he's not actively in the government anymore, I don't think.
Anyway.
We'll see you guys next week. Have a great week. And look out for this King of Characters thing, because you have to vote if you want your character to make it on to the next round.
I guarantee you we'll talk about it at some point in the future.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're going to, every week, with the rankings and the results and stuff like that. So, I don't even know, if there's like 100 characters, it's going to go on forever, too.
Well, here we go, discussing, brainstorming in the middle of a podcast.
All right, so it's going to go on for a while, so you guys better be prepared. So we'll see you guys next week. Peace.